Well, hello folks. In this video we are going to take a look at my top 10 favorite new features in Lightroom 1.1. So if you haven't heard yet, Lightroom has released an update. Adobe has released an update for Lightroom, that is, and it is a .1 update, and you can get it for free from Adobe's website. But let's take a look at my top 10 favorite features. First feature is, and this is a huge one, is the concept of a catalog. Because now instead of just a library, you have a catalog, and what that means is you can go to the file menu, you can export your photos as a catalog. In doing this, you can export your negatives, your previews, all that fun stuff. Lightroom will save a catalog file. What this means is that if you're on a laptop, you can export your catalog from the laptop. You can move over to a studio or your desktop or wherever it may be, and you can import your catalog onto that desktop and synchronize things up. It'll take the photos, it'll take any changes in settings that you've made to a photo that's on your laptop that might also be on your desktop as well. So it's the catalog scheme, and it is huge. That is the #1 question, is how do you go back and forth between a desktop and a laptop? Now you can do it with catalogs. Another one here is under the library menu, you can now select a photo or photos and convert directly to DNG, the digital negative specification. Number 3 here. Here's this is actually a very cool one too. Inside your Lightroom preferences, if you go to the Edit Preferences dialog here, and this is on the Windows, if you go on the Mac, it is under your Lightroom menu. You go under External Editors. Now you have some more choices when it comes to editing in that external editor, but it actually gets even better. If I click on a photo and I go to the Photo menu and I choose Edit in Photoshop CS3, I get these options that pop up for me every single time now. So now I can change my external editor options on the fly. I don't have to go into my preferences and do it. I can always do it right here if I just want to change it for maybe one photo. By the way, I did mention Windows. This isn't one of my top 10 favorite features, but Lightroom is now supported on Windows Vista. Okay, another one here, virtual copies. Virtual copies are a very cool little thing. Here's how they work. If I right click on a photo, I choose Create Virtual Copy. It makes a virtual copy. It's not a duplicate of the photo and not taking up twice the hard drive space. It's just virtual. And now I can come inside here and I can make a change to my photo. So maybe we will go into the photo, increase a couple settings here. And what this allows me to do is work with versions. So now here's the original, and then here's another version. Maybe I convert it to a black and white. Maybe I create a sepia tone photo out of it. But either way, I got these virtual copies. They're real easy ways to make versions of your photos. That's not a new feature, but here is one of my top 10 features, and that is under the photo menu. You will see that you will have an option for Create Virtual Copy, and now it has a shortcut. So I know it sounds small, but that's big for me because I use virtual copies a lot. Moving on down the line, when we go into the Develop module, there is a brand new setting here, and it's called Clarity. Clarity is kind of a mid-tone contrast increasing enhancement. Very, very cool enhancement, and you now have it here inside of Lightroom. While we're on the Develop module, when you work on your photos, inevitably you'll want to see your before and afters. So that takes us to number 6 here, and you can see right at the bottom here, I can see the before and after photo. However, let me go ahead and click this little arrow over here, and what this does is it hides the panels over on the right. And so now I can see my before and after here. Well, take a look at what you have. You've got these other options that appear now. Copy before settings to after, copy after settings to before, or swap the before and after settings. Alright, so you've actually got more options now when you're working with your before and after previews. Some really neat stuff here. Let's take a look down the line as we get to the detail panel. Noise reduction. The sliders haven't changed, but the way they work they actually work better. So Lightroom has some better, let's call it math and things going on in the background that help your noise reduction here. So while the sliders look the same, what's going on in the background actually helps the noise removal features. Moving on to number 8, I'm going to jump back over to the library. And as I scroll up on the left hand side, I'm going to see the Find panel. And at the bottom here, you have this option to find by date. So that's cool in and of itself. But see these little sliders down here? Now you can move these sliders and you can find your photos by date. So as I get these sliders closer together, it's just showing me photos that were shot between 5/29 and 6/28. And as I move it away, it goes a month each time. You can see it moving right up at the top here. It shows you the days. Plus you can click right on the dates and just move your cursor to the left or to the right to change that date range as well. But that's pretty cool. It's kind of just like a visual way to get in here and be able to find your photos if you know that they were taken within a certain date range. Next, on to number 9, the Painter tool. This is pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. So here's what you do. Select the Painter tool. And let's say we want to paint keywords onto our photos, and I want to paint these photos were taken in Bruges. So let's say I want to paint Bruges onto these photos. So I grab my Painter tool and I just click. Okay? And all it does is it's painting the keyword onto the photo. So it's a very visual way to go in here and just click, and you can click once and you can paint, or you can just start spraying. Just click and hold it down and start spraying all over the place. And it's actually kind of fun when you start to use it. You laugh at me, but trust me, you'll start to use it and it gets pretty cool. But it's not just keywords. You can come inside here, you can paint labels, you can paint metadata, you can paint develop settings inside here. So very neat little tool here. It's the Painter tool. And then the last and final feature in my top 10 is Sharpening. So if we go over to the Develop module and we scroll all the way down to the bottom, you're going to get back to that Detail panel. Now instead of just basically an on-off slider for sharpening, it was pretty much just 0 to 100. Now we've got 4 sliders. Alright, and each of these sliders allows us to get a good deal of our sharpening done inside of Lightroom. Okay, so you've got amount, radius, detail, and masking. I'll give you a little tip with all of these sliders. If you want to see how they're affecting your photo, let's go to just the after preview here. If you want to see how they affect your photo, hold down the Alt key on the PC or Option on the Mac and drag. Okay, actually we got to go into, hold on. The other thing here, take a look at this little exclamation point. It's telling you a zoom level of 1:1 or greater is required to use that. So I need to go into 1:1. Now when I hold down that Alt key, Option on the Mac, see what it does here? It's giving me a preview of the settings based on just a grayscale image in the background, so I can see how my changes here are applying to the actual image. Same thing for all the other sliders here. You can actually see it in action. So sharpening, a huge improvement over Lightroom 1.0. That's probably one of the biggest features, along with the catalog improvements as well. So there you have it, my top 10 favorite features in Lightroom 1.1. I hope you enjoyed it.